not a matter of intellectual or mental adjustment. Krishna consciousness is not that. It's a matter of consciousness, not making a mental adjustment. But when you see the tree, as Prabhupada described, in any Krishna conscious person is a philosopher, and he considers, what is this? This is a tree, he's in this condition, spirit, soul. And the body of the tree is Krishna's energy. So when you see Krishna in that way, but to hold that conception, there has to be bhakti. I'm sure you're familiar with Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13. This is the Sankhya section of Bhagavad Gita. Karya karna kartave bhokti prakriti uchite. The living entity, Prabhupada explained in the purport, when the living entity gets a body, so that's, he's earlier said that's the source of our bodies. When you get a body, then you act according to the body. The living entity that gets the body of a dog behaves like a dog. He barks, he wags his tail, chews on bones, he does things that dogs do. The same living entity gets the body of a king, or a demigod, or a mosquito, or whatever, and he behaves according to the body that he receives. But that's not who the living entity is. The living entity is not those coverings. Gopi Pranadana uses this word in his Tattva Sandarbha translation, delimiting. Just kind of like emphasizing limiting, delimiting. It appears to be not because of the expansiveness, the potency, the potential of the soul is huge compared to the delimiting factors of the bodies. So what to speak of Krishna and the dynamic of our loving relationship with Krishna is totally spiritual. However, the Upadhis cover that potential. The strength of our false ego identification with those coverings delimits the sense of our being connected with Krishna and taking full shelter of Krishna in His holy name. So we want to go beyond that, using Prabhupada's phrase. If you want to come into the fire, you have to become fire. This is, look at how intensely Prabhupada is chanting japa here. So, here, this is taken from a lecture in Honolulu, 1976. Here's the larger part of that lecture. A devotee cannot be of bad character, because Krishna is Parabrahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram. Pavitra means pure, so impure cannot approach you. That is not possible. If you want to enter fire, you must be fire. And if you are not fire, then you will burn. So, first of all, we have to revive. Because Krishna, the example is given that Krishna is the big flame, we are sparks of fire. We are also fire, very small. The sparks of fire can play, can remain within fire, and it's beautiful. Fun. There's spark. You have seen wildfires going on, it's very beautiful. And as soon as this tut falls down, separate from it is extinguished. No more fire. It is black charcoal, that's all. So if we want happiness, then we have to dance with Krishna. But you cannot dance with Krishna if you're not pure. Krishna Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. Pavitra means the supreme pure. If you want to take pleasure in the company of Krishna and dance, rasa dance, then you have to become pure, purified. That is Sarvopadi Nirvokam. To be free from all designation. Narayana, Narayana. Narayana society, Krishna society. Same thing. So that's us. We're part of the Krishna society, International Krishna Society. Just a little flash. In the International Leadership Sangha that just took place in Mayapur, there were like 1,300 leaders from all around the world. And one of my great appreciations was that word international came to life because there were people from all different cultures and languages and colors and backgrounds and nations, and all focused on Krishna. Very wonderful. Just that dimension in itself. So, Sarvopadi Nirvokam. We're not black or Chinese or Latin or Russian, or although there are all those different bodies assembled there, it's souls attracted to Krishna. And that's what we're attempting to do through this japa retreat, become situated like that. And the best way, according to, this is a quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita, referring to a verse from Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Atakshi Krishna Namani na bhaved paramindriya seva mukhi hi jivada swayameva swaratnita. Translation: therefore, material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities, and pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. Sometimes too gradually, for a liking. At least on this theme for this evening, going beyond the coverings to the real self and beyond the distractions of the mind to those roles that we have in our life that we think is us. And it's very important to us because we're responsible people. So we involve our mind in those things instead of who we really are in the holy name. There's a section, those that take the Mayapur Academy course for deity worship. It's a 4-month course. And one of the sections of the course is how to approach the deity. And exactly on this theme is something that's taught at the Mayapur Academy. There's a Bhuta Shuddhi prayer. It's taken directly from Hari Bhakti Vilas. That because we're in these bodies and we identify very strongly with these bodies and we're approaching a deity that may be, in one sense, made of wood, stone, and metal, it's very easy to be in material consciousness when doing that. So to free oneself from that material consciousness or becoming fixed in one's own spiritual identity so you can approach the deity in proper consciousness, there's this Bhuta Shuddhi prayer that one is taught how to, before approaching the deity, offer this prayer from your heart. Identifying oneself as the servant of Krishna. Here's the prayer, taken directly from Hari Bhakti Vilas. I am by nature the eternal servant of Krishna, But by misfortune, due to being inimical toward him from time immemorial, I have been identifying myself with the body, and have been continuously wandering the cycle of birth and death in the material world, suffering and burning threefold miseries. Now, as a result of some unimaginable good fortune, by the mercy of my spiritual master, I know that I am the eternal servant of Krishna, that I am an infinitesimal spiritual being, completely apart from the gross and subtle body. Now, by the order of my spiritual master, following in his footsteps, I have attained the good fortune of being able to serve my spiritual master's lotus feet and the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the name of your deity, Sri Shivana Nilavadava, or whatever your deity is. This is a procedure in deity worship before approaching the deity to free yourself from Upadhis. It's part of Tantra, deity worship requirement. Because just as the holy name is Nandakata Krishna, the deity is Nandakata Krishna, but the tendency is to identify ourselves differently. Similar idea in Bhagavad Gita, the Brahma-bhuta verse. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything, is equally disposed towards every living being, living entity. In that state he attains pure devotional service unto me. So that's the stage of bhakti, mad bhaktim, labhate, pranam. This is attaining pure devotional service, and here's the Narada Pancharatra verse, well known, often quoted, and which this evening's discussion is based upon. Sarva Upadhi Vinirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. Very direct definition of what is bhakti. Here's the definition. Bhakti, or devotional service, means engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of all senses. When the spirit soul renders service unto the Supreme, there are two side effects. One is freed from all material designations, and simply by being employed in service of the Lord, one's senses are purified. Bhakti has that power. And we're going to hear in Brahma's prayers of humility before Krishna this very same thing. It's not accidental. Same thing. The power of bhakti can destroy, can completely remove, eradicate, vaporize, just, kaput, the whole system, the whole network of misidentification with coverings of who we aren't. It can dissolve false ego. It has that power. Nothing else, no other system of yoga has that power. Bhakti has that power. If we have the proper intention or sankalpa or faith in taking shelter of the pure holy name, have that aspiration. Power is there. Just have to focus it by proper practice and regular practice with faith. Here's the word for word, Sarva Upadhi, put in big red letters. Free from all desires except the desire to render service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is purposeful again, tat paratvena, by the sole purpose of serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Emphasis, focus, purpose, sankalpa. And then rishikena, by purified senses free from all designations. So it's important, you can see, I'm trying to demonstrate through these scriptural references, it's really, really important that when we're chanting the holy name, we do so where our attention does not go to the coverings, but the attention goes to the name. Here's from Nectar Devotion, the introduction section. When our senses are engaged, for the actual proprietor of the senses, that is called devotional service. In our conditional state, our senses are engaged in serving these bodily demands, our Upadhis. When the same senses are engaged in executing the order of Krishna, our activities are called bhakti. This is a chart, I'm just going to show it to you, but the primary definition of bhakti given in red letters in the middle there, that's the Mahavakya verse for the entire Nectar Devotion, and the Abhidasha to Shunyam, etc. It exactly parallels this verse from Narada Pancharatra. The definition of bhakti is the words are different, the message is identical. So now, application, a little experiment. We can only be disturbed by any emotion if we are identified with some false identity or upadhi or designation. You can say the converse. If we're fully identifying with Krishna, the soul's relationship with Krishna, like Prahlad Maharaj or great souls, Maharaj Ambarish, great souls, their mind doesn't budge an inch from Krishna, whatever is going on, good, bad, or mixed. And in this world, it's good, bad, and mixed. Doesn't stop. Keeps changing. And we want it to be, this way, but it doesn't stay this way. Time moves things and it becomes something else, and then something else. And we become disturbed or happy or whatever, and we identify with those feelings, those emotions, and forget who we really are. So we can become undisturbed or truly peaceful whenever Krishna conscious. And that means letting go of those upadhis. While chanting, monitor the distractions that seem to come as a theme, besides the littler ones, the smaller ones, the less frequent ones. Some are more frequent. So I'm preparing you for a little exercise. We're going to spend 10 minutes or so holding your beads and watching the mind go. Well, we're just going to be observing what's your favorite upadhis. And then next, ask yourself, based upon which upadhi are these distractions coming? And ask yourself, maybe you're willing to give up some of those upadhis. You keep your favorite ones, but some of them you can let go of to get closer to your real identity. What's that real identity? Which is in the servant of Krishna. That's that Bhukta Shuddhi prayer for deity worship. That's who I am. At least while you're chanting. Later you can go back to the Upadhi program, but while chanting, just stay with Krishna. Are you willing to let go of some of those? And this isn't theoretically, we're actually going to do this. So it's humorous, but when you start to do it, you think about what it is that you're doing when you're chanting instead of being attentive. You see, our lives are filled with this other thing. And if the answer is, no, I don't want to, I like these my favorite ones at least I like, then when will I become willing to give them up, this false identity? And what will it take for me to give up this false identity? It's exercising the Krishna Bhakti muscle a little bit. Instead of You follow what the exercise is? Maybe I'll just say it quickly again. When chanting, we'll start, our attention goes to those things which we falsely identify with as me. Some of you have children, you may be concerned, where's my son or daughter, how are they doing, something, or whatever our roles are. We're conscientious because we're being responsible. We're thinking about things that are important. We're being responsible. We're heavily invested in those. Especially when we're chanting. So monitor those distractions and see if there's some theme, and if there's some theme based upon those distractions, what is that Upadhi that distraction is rooted to? And then, are you willing to let go of some of them? And if the answer is no, how long would it take? What would it take for that point to come? Instead of the false identification, true identification. Is it possible to be responsible Vaishnava and not neglectful, that is to say, of what my responsibilities are, and at the same time be fully attentive to the holy name? Do that. In fact, to say stronger, you'll become more effective in being a perfected Vaishnava in whatever your various roles are if your attention goes to Krishna than if your attention goes to the roles. That's a bhakti fact. So what's the fact? Which is stronger, A or B? Your effort or your effort in Krishna's help? Really easy. But if you don't want Krishna's help, is Krishna going to help? He's not going to interfere. But if you want Krishna's help, you'll be more effective at whatever your roles are. And that's how we're not impersonals. We don't say you have to renounce everything. You have to see everything in relation to Krishna. See the tree, all these nice examples. But you don't just see the external, you see Krishna. It's possible. It's what we're supposed to be achieving potentially through the chanting of the holy name. So any question about our exercise? Because this is it. This is the end of the class. And then we'll do a little chanting together. If you have a question about what the exercise is, please ask John. And then we'll chant together for 10 minutes or 12 minutes or 15 minutes. We'll see how it goes. And then a little sharing and questions on the topic. And those of you who take this seriously, I guarantee I'll provide you an extra samosa during prasadam.